In the lesson on basic search and navigation in FRED, we looked at the tab functions in FRED as well as some core lookup concepts. In this lesson, we want to review more in depth the search for teams and CSOs, and then the process of adding a new team or CSO and editing its details. As always, log into FRED and make sure you're in the current campaign year. Before creating a new team or CSO, I always conduct a search first to avoid creating a duplicate. Go to the Teams tab and click on the drop-down and select Look Up Teams. Once there, click on the Advanced Search button, and then you're going to type in the name of the team that you're searching for. For instance, here I'm looking for a team by the name of Jupiter Hospital, so I'm just going to type in Jupiter for now. We're going to create some more filters as we're looking for this team, Jupiter Hospital. We're doing a global search, so let's try these. Next to the team name box, do the drop-down and select Contains. Going over to the year, select All. To the right of there, click on Search All Campaigns. In the chapter region box, do the drop-down, scroll up all the way until you can find March of Dimes National Headquarters. And then in Active, select Both, and then click on Search. Remember, what we're doing here is a global search, just trying to make sure that universally in FRED that the team Jupiter Hospital or a CSO called Jupiter Hospital does not exist, so we avoid duplication. In our search, we found that there were 24 names that could potentially be Jupiter Hospital, so we just want to take a look at them and make sure that that doesn't exist. Now notice that there's a Jupiter Medical Center in Florida, but that's not my Jupiter Hospital in Colorado. So I feel pretty certain now that globally there is not a Jupiter Hospital team or CSO in FRED, and I'm ready to make an entry. Go to the More Actions drop-down box as seen here. With the drop-down, click on Add Team, and then click Submit. You're going to fill in the required details for your new team. Required fields here are noted with an asterisk. If you note here, team name, event, team type, and address location. So we're going to go ahead and get those filled in. Let's take a moment too to think about the name for this hospital. Naming convention is becoming very important as we have so many teams and CSOs in FRED. It's going to be very helpful in the future when you or someone else wants to search for this particular team. It also helps in reporting to make sure that you can gather all the names of teams that maybe are associated with any particular company or group. Since I added this team, note that it's not just Jupiter Hospital, but there's also a NICU. So it's Jupiter Hospital NICU. I fill in all the other information about this particular team. So at this point, we've got a very specified name for Jupiter Hospital NICU. Now that we've entered all the required information for our Jupiter Hospital NICU, we're going to click Save. The next thing that you'll be asked to do by FRED is this team right now does not report to a CSO. It'll ask if you want to select a CSO, add a CSO, or just save this team as is. Since we're not sure yet about a CSO, let's go ahead and just save as is. After you've clicked Save for your new team, you'll go back to another screen that will show you right on the top here. It says Team Jupiter Hospital NICU has been created, and you'll see another short list of other actions that you could do. You could go back right now and add some status, add people, add some goals, edit some of the details of this team. They're not required at this point, so right now you just want to get the team in there, so we're done with putting this new team in. Since you weren't sure if the CSO Jupiter Hospital existed in FRED, let's take a look at how we find it. Here we're going to conduct a full search just as we did when looking for a team. Click on the Team tab and click on Look Up CSO. On this screen, notice there is no advanced search like you're used to seeing in the team. There are fewer attributes with the CSO, so a smaller amount of search criteria. Also note that the Search All Campaigns box down here is already selected. Click on the drop-down box and click Contains. Once again, due to the fact that there might be some inconsistent naming, that you're not sure how somebody else named something, you just want to make sure that perhaps somebody hasn't called Jupiter Hospital the Jupiter Hospital. So in the CSO name box, we'll click in and add in Jupiter, and then making sure that we're doing a universal search, and so we're going to find all the way up and find the overall national headquarters. Don't use the search box for industry code in here, as once again, we can't really predict if someone has coded this incorrectly. So if you put in an industry code that's wrong, then you'll get nothing in your results. Also, as before in the team, all is already selected here, and paid or unpaid is both. So now we're ready to search. If your search shows no results or some results but not your specific CSO, you can now click on More Actions and click Submit. Here we see, remember we saw that when we were looking for Jupiter Hospital team, we saw a medical center, but we know that was in Florida. So this is obviously not our Jupiter Hospital. So we feel comfortable we've covered the bases, we're not creating something new or something that already exists. So we can go ahead and add a CSO and click the Submit button. With the blank CSO record now in front of you, you can fill in the name of your CSO. Here I'm going to enter in Jupiter Hospital. And then give it an industry code. Really try, it's important, it's a required thing, so make sure that you're really trying to get the correct industry code as we do this. Scrolling down, we should see hospitals in here. Here we are, hospital and care facilities. You can see that there are few required fields for CSOs. So pretty much once we have this, we are done and we can click Save. Once you've completed and click Save, you'll get to the completed CSO name, just as we saw with the team right here on top, indicating that this CSO has indeed been created. As with the teams, you'll notice there are other actions that can be taken. You can do these things now, or you can come back and complete it later. For now, you just want to make sure the CSO is entered and you're ready to go. Since now you know you've set up the CSO for Jupiter Hospital, you can assign that team that we created to it. So in the team lookup, go ahead and type in Jupiter. We don't even have to put hospital next to it because we're going to look up those things in Colorado that have the team name starting with Jupiter, and we're just going to do a simple search. From your search results, locate the team you want to work with. Here indeed we find our Jupiter Hospital NICU. We're going to click on the team name itself and take us to the individual team record. Underneath this Reports To box, you'll see the search box. Let's click Search so that we can begin to find our CSO. Notice our CSO in here. We're just going to simply type in Jupiter. Once we've typed in Jupiter, and we remember that we spelled it that way, so we're good that way, we can keep contains, go ahead and click on Search. And there's our Jupiter Hospital CSO. We can go ahead and click on that. And note how it's now been entered into the Reports To as a CSO. Now that we click Save for assigning our Jupiter Hospital to the CSO of Jupiter Hospital, you'll note that it's now starting its own navigation tree. Here's the top reports to, this is the top CSO, and then here's the team that reports to it. So we're sure that we really have started the appropriate structure for this team. While in the team details record as well, you can actually go to, remember those tabs that we looked at, you can create a status, you can assign people to this team, start putting goals, etc. So you've got pretty much a good structure set up here. Another important thing to note in here is if you're going to be entering information to any one of these tabs, each tab is kind of separate on its own self. So make sure after you've entered any information in each tab, scrolling down to the bottom, each respective tab has its own save button. So make sure you save before going to the next tab, or your data will not be maintained. If you've not already done so, please see the lesson on entering team data using the team grid, which is another way to update team information. So in this lesson, we've taken a look at looking for and searching for both teams and CSOs, and when not finding them, how to add them into Fred. Tip sheets and PowerPoints are also available on Dimension for this and any other function of Fred. Thanks.